Grace and peace, and welcome to 5 Minutes of Faith, presented to you by Believers Ministries, where we are reaching the community with the love of Christ, one person, one family at a time. Join us today as we take excerpts from our guest speaker, Minister Doreen Dawkins from Raymond Christian Center.
The third component of preparing for purpose, found in Genesis 41:24, is there are some things that only you can do. Each of us were placed on earth for a specific purpose. Period. But the reality is, I've alluded to it earlier, if you abort your mission, you abort your purpose, God will raise up another. Now, He'll give you some chances to get it together, but after a while, enough is enough. It's, oh, Doreen, I don't believe that. God is sovereign. And God is merciful. And yes, God is sovereign. Yes, God is merciful. But what you going to do with the parable of the talents? In the parable of the talents, they were given, one person was given 10 talents, and they did business and got 10 more. And then there was one person that didn't do nothing with the one talent they were given. And at the end of that, it said this: give that one talent to the one that was most productive, that had the 10 talents. And so it is, I think, in the kingdom of God. Many times, you know who ends up with more talents? Those who are faithful, because you're giving more opportunities. The fifth component of preparing for purpose, found in Genesis 41:33 through 36, is to store up seed or fund the promise. Now, I know some people say, oh, the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. Yeah, the Bible does say that. But in the meantime, you better get you a 401k and start putting some money away in savings. The reality is, we know when you know to do better, you should do better. Period. And many of us are waiting for somebody else to fund what God told us to do, and we already have the resources to do it. If you take yourself to a 9 to 5, they give you money. Last I told that, people ain't going. Well, if you go and they ain't paying, there's a problem. But most of the time, when you go and you work, they give you some money. And I will declare, instead of giving the cable man your money, perhaps put some of that money away, and whatever you're called to do, fund it yourself. Go buy you a book. Even better that, go to the library, get a book on how to do what God called you to do, read up on it, and start doing it. The sixth component of preparing for purpose, found in Genesis 41:37 through 44, is when God gets ready to promote you into the place of purpose, nobody's plan can stop it. Amen. Now, the reality is, it didn't matter that Joseph had a record, because he was put in prison and he was innocent. He was falsely accused of putting a move on his boss's wife, and that's why he was put in prison. He was set up and sold into slavery by his brothers. He was forgotten by others when he gave them an interpretation, said, hey, go, I'm in here falsely, tell the king about me. And they said, oh yeah, I'm going to tell the king, and they forgot about him. So it is with us. If God gave us a promotion, and God is promoting people, God will promote people despite the plans of everybody else. Period. We as people in your family might be verbal abusers. God will promote you in spite of that. God will promote you in spite of folk try to tease you when you was a kid. But in spite of that, in spite of all the plans, oh, we're gonna get her. We gonna, let's do this. And all the little underhanded stuff that people do at work. Despite that, despite every little plan, in the neighborhood, oh, let's don't talk to her. Good, keep it moving. Nobody cares, And so when you just rise above all the pettiness and and even in the church, folk be having little plans and plots, and you would think in the church that folk would be supportive of whatever it is you're called to do, but that's not always the case. Because you know why? There's some petty people in the church. Petty. I mean, it's like, what? I mean, it's almost like they didn't grow up and they got one little bit of authority, and now they're gonna work that little bit of authority out. Ridiculous, outrageous, and God can and will replace you, and God again can promote you in spite of all that. The bottom line is this: we need to do whatever we're doing for an audience of one. We should not. It says we'll say, I don't receive honor from men. If we're supposed to be like God, we're supposed to strive to receive honor of God.
That's right.
See, a lot of times we put that little glad grin on. You would think that everybody was the youngest in the family. Now, you know the youngest in the family, most of them, they just get all that attention. And they just, a lot of times you be 150 and still be looking for somebody to be, are you looking at me? Come on, sit down and be quiet. You're 150. The time has passed. But that's what I mean. Some people are just so into what do people think? Oh, how can I get everybody to like me? Oh, and all that end up missing our purpose and missing what we're supposed to do, trying to get somebody to look at us and pay us a compliment. Go broke buying a new outfit every week. You see, y'all like my ring? Do a close-up. Come on now. Give me a break. And then don't let nobody not comment on it. Oh, there's a problem. Oh, I can't believe I went to church and they knew I got my hair done. And they didn't say nothing about it. I just got my hair colored. And I mean, they could tell the difference. They didn't say nothing. Ain't that so? Them saints. Huh. I'm gonna fix them. I'm not coming the next 2 weeks. And maybe they'll notice when I come back, play it again. You need to do whatever for an audience of one. Whatever the Lord tells you to do, that's what you need to do. If nobody come up grinning talking about what a blessing you were, if you did it to the best of your ability and you knew that God told you to do it, that's it.
We trust God that the word has encouraged you today, and we'd like to take this time to cordially invite you to join us for service. And we're located at 465 Waterbury Court, Suite E, Gahanna, Ohio. For more information about our services, feel free to visit the web at www.believersministries.net.